Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to go over the changes in AutoCAD 2027. Some of them are quite disappointing. So let's get right into it then. Okay, so there's a few things that concern me about AutoCAD 2027, and we'll get into those in a little bit, specifically with your operating system. But before that, we're going to go over the features of AutoCAD 2027. Okay, so we're going to go through and actually go over these new changes. So one thing to note is I was having a lot of problems with getting this program to actually run steady. It's not like I have a garbage computer. It's really powerful. I use it all the time for multiple things, video editing, everything, and it just lags like mad. That's probably due to them switching over to just one operating system. So if you're having the same problem, then just know that you're not alone and they're probably going to get this fixed soon. But with that said, we're just going to try and go as quickly and as best as we can through this. We're going to try the new geometry cleanup command. So what this command does is it allows us to clean up our problems in our drawings. So what does it do? Well, it scans and looks for gaps, overshoots, undershoots, misaligned angles, things like that, errors that you might miss when you're drawing. So what you want to do is you can type in geometry cleanup open, but I'm just going to go here and click the tool here. It's under the manage tab in your ribbon. You just click geometry cleanup and you'll be brought up with this box here. It's just going to ask you, okay, well, we're going to identify some errors with simple geometry. So all we can do is click select objects. And then what you want to do is you want to just select the objects that you want to scan for. I'm going to scan this whole drawing just to show you as an example. Select it, press enter, and then that should bring up a new dialog box, and we're going to have tolerances and things we can plug in here. So what we can do here is we can kind of customize the settings by selecting the different error types, setting the tolerances from this box, and you can also export tolerance settings and import template files for consistency. If you use multiple drawings, if you're drawing all the time and you have the same tolerances for everything, you can kind of have a bunch of files for that as well. I'm not going to get into that because I don't do that kind of work, but you can do that. So you can just come here, select a file, browse a file, and find it if you need to. And again, you can export these settings as well. So just click export, it'll save it as a file, and then you'll be able to import it into your other drawings as well. So once you have your tolerances set, I'm not going to mess with any of this because, well, it's going to make the video too long. So what we're going to do is just select this. We're going to click scan, and it's going to scan everything that we've selected for errors. And you can see here we have 474 small errors. So we can see here if we go to our gap, we can select that. It's going to show us the tolerances, and it's going to highlight, once you select it, all those areas on your drawing where it sees, okay, there could be an error here. This is where we have determined there is an error. And you can just kind of go through and just select which ones you want. This is a really useful new command. I actually like it a lot. This is especially useful if you're doing like complex drawings like the one we see here. We can see our absolute angles. It's going to just highlight everything, and it's just going to give us a zoomed out view of where everything should be. So with that said, that is the command there. And then what we can do here as well is you can actually fix these problems. So if I just go here, you can see I'm hovering over this circle right here. I have a few fixes. It's going to give me a bunch of fixes. So if I just zoom in on this error here, you can see it's saying, okay, well, there's an error here. Well, how can we fix this? So if I go here, I can either extend and trim. I can stretch it. I can stretch it again. I can move it. I can move it. You can see that it's giving us 5 different fixes, but two of them or 4 of them are the exact same pretty much. So 2 of them are move, 2 of them are stretch. We can extend and trim, we can move, we can keep as design. So it's just going to show you, and it's going to give you a preview of what it looks like. Maybe we're going to maybe we just don't want to change it. I'm just going to click keep as designed, and then it's just going to keep it. And you can kind of do that for everything around here. And you can just go through and fix any of these errors. And you can see that once we've said, okay, keep it as designed, it's going to disappear. So this is going to be how you use the geometry cleanup command. Very, very useful, really helpful when you're trying to scan for problems. I do still recommend you go through your drawings as well and make sure that things are obviously set up the way they need to be without using this command. But again, this is just a great step in the right direction. I really like it, and I really hope they can fix the bugs with how slow this program's running. So with that said, we're going to move on to the next command. One thing to keep in mind as well, when we are going through this, I'm just going to exit through here. There is the geometry cleanup open command. So these are the new commands that you get with this. There is geometry error review close. So this exits the geometry cleanup review mode. And then there's also the geometry cleanup close command. So that just closes the geometry cleanup palette. But most of the time, you're just going to click the checkbox. That's an X anyways to get out of there. So those are the new commands. And yeah, we're going to get into it. And there's a few more system variables as well. I should mention before we go on. So that would be geometry cleanup state. So that indicates whether the geometry cleanup palette is open or closed. and then also geometry cleanup zoom pan. So that controls whether clicking on a node in the tree view of the geometry cleanup pan, it auto zooms to the highlighted instances, which we have that on. So we don't really want to mix with that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into the next big change. Yeah, so the next change just has to do with the Autodesk Assistant just becoming a little bit more useful. So, it has the ability to check standards of a current drawing against a standards file. So you can kind of upload a file to this. I don't really know how. I haven't been able to figure it out yet. But you can give it a file and it will then compare the standards of the file. And then we'll also have the ability to query drawing information. So that would be like layer lists, block usage, other things. And then it can also, prompt library and chat history. Like, I mean, I never use this, but if you like using the Autodesk Assistant, it can be useful. But for the most part, again, like these are just small changes for that. And we're going to get into the more important changes right now. Okay, so the next thing that they've kind of added has to do with XREFs. So what this is they're calling it, connected references. So it improves the workflow for updating the paths of missing external references. So this is actually really useful if you use XREFs all the time. So, when working with drawings that contain XREFs, you'll be able to toggle this new switch that will tell you if there's any missing references in this pane here. So this view will exclusively show the missing external drawing files. So literally it's going to show you which files are missing from that XREF. I don't have any XREFs that I'm missing or anything right now, but you can literally just toggle that and it will show you the missing references. So from the missing references view, once you click that, you can then perform the following tasks on the missing references. So that would be, you can detach the references that you just don't need anymore once you select this, of course. You can update the paths of references by browsing and specifying a new path. So if you moved a file, it's in a different file location, you can then go and find the new file location without having to have an issue with that. And then you can also resolve the paths of references based on suggested paths. So it's going to, only apply to drawings open from Autodesk project only. So normally when a referenced file is renamed or it's moved, any drawing that is dependent on that XREF can no longer be located because its path changed. And then with that said, you used to have to go through and actually, go for each missing reference, load it properly into AutoCAD, and it just creates an absolute nightmare. This is going to absolutely help you a ton if you use XREFs because you can literally just go click a few buttons, find the new thing, know exactly where it is, and it's done. And then what you can really do there is there's the external references palette. It's a new command, so just type in external references and then it will open the new palette. So then now, with that said, we're going to move into the next new thing. Okay, so the new command called checkout allows a user to edit and propose changes to specific objects in a drawing that someone else is editing. So this is really kind of useful if you're working with a team. If you're not working for a team, you can go and skip this one. If you are, then you might want to stick around. I don't have access, just so you know, to be able to do this because I don't really have the AutoDESK connector thing that they need you to have for this. So what this does is this allows you to propose changes to someone who's actively editing a drawing. And if you want them to edit it, you can edit it in a trace environment, and then you can submit your changes to review for the user who has the read-write access if you only have read access. So the user with read-write access will then be able to merge the changes into the drawing. And that's pretty much it. And it creates just a streamlined workflow if you're working with other people. And the next big change called connected support files tool palettes. This allows you to have tool palettes and authoring palette files that can be shared with others working on the same project stored on Forma Data Management. Again, I don't have Forma Data Management. I've again left a link to these changes somewhere in this video, and you can go check those out as well. And you can go and just read through how you can actually use these tools and connect to other people with this change. But again, I'm unfortunately unable to show you this. But yeah, like a lot of these changes in 2027 have to do with sharing, collaboration, which is really good. But unfortunately, yeah, I can't just show you that. So the next one will be the last major change, and it's something that I can show you, and it's going to be really cool. So let's get into that one. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a quick list in this slideshow of the minor changes. Some of them are minor, some of them are maybe a little bit less than minor if you're doing a few things, but here we go. So the first one is the layout tab. Switching performance. So they claim that this has improved the speed at which you can switch your layouts. I don't see that. My computer runs like, absolute garbage with this program. So I don't know what they're saying here, but we're going to continue on. They claim that they've made it quicker. The next thing is 3D graphic system enhancement. So the 3D graphic system, so the GSF controlled by the fast shaded mode system variable, They say now provides a more stable and efficient experience. Again, I think this needs to be fixed. These updates improve visual fidelity by better supporting large coordinates, oculated edges, materials, lights, textures, shadows, sky, and backgrounds. Additionally, the realistic, fast visual style is now on by default. I think that's really good. But again, we need to kind of make it work so that you can actually get to 3D, because I can't even run it on 2D and most of you probably can't either. So hopefully by the time you're watching this video, that's all fixed. The next thing is connected support file access are only available, or they're now available in format data management in the ACC library. And then the removal of support for AutoCAD web and mobile. This is really important if you use these programs and you uploaded to them and everything, because they got rid of that. So to open from web and mobile, so open from web mobile, and the save to web and mobile, so save to web and mobile features, they were completely axed from this release. If you previously saved your drawing files to AutoCAD web and mobile, highly recommended. They recommend that you now utilize the format data management system to store and access drawing files anywhere. So it's kind of a way for them to streamline it, but absolute pain in the butt. If you use these files, you're going to have to learn a whole new system. The next thing is they've removed the shared views. So the shared views feature has been removed. So if you previously used shared views, it's again recommended to utilize format data management to store and draw, or to store and share drawing files with others. There is this huge push to format data management to replace that now replaces push to Autodesk Docs. So the push to Autodesk Docs feature has been updated to now just push to format data management. So that's a big change for a lot of you. New commands and system variables are introduced, as we went over, to display and close the push to format data management palette. They have removed support for the MRSID image format, so image files saved in the MRSID format can no longer be attached to a drawing file. So these images will need to be saved to a supported file format and then reattached to your drawing. I don't think that's too much of a big issue. And then the removal of support to create a PostScript file. So the PS out command has been completely removed, and the export command no longer supports the ability to export to this format. So if you need to create a PostScript file from the drawing, they say configure a PC3 file according to the output needed. So that would be the main changes in that. So guys, I'm going to leave a link to these changes somewhere so you can go check them out. Again, a lot of this has to do with connected support, partial customizations, and then the biggest thing again is the removal of support for Windows 10 and previous versions. So you have to have Windows 11 to have this new version of AutoCAD, and moving forward, you will have to have a minimum of Windows 11, it seems, as well. Hopefully they change it, because they could change it at any point, just backwards compatibility. We'll see if they do. If they don't, that's fine. It's just something we're going to have to deal with. But yeah, it runs like, not great right now. So hopefully, again, new changes come out. So guys, hopefully this video was helpful. We're going to have some new tutorials coming out for this version of AutoCAD very shortly. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And if you like this video, go check out this one. It might help you get started in drawing if you don't know how to draw in AutoCAD.